This is all stuff we had left over from the
Hi guys, thank you so much for joining me this evening. This is the PTA Reflections Zoom training meeting. My computer has been running a little weird today, so if something happens and I get shut off or I disappear, just hang on because I do have a backup computer here that I can jump on and rejoin. So I apologize in advance for that. But thank you guys so much for joining me tonight, and I appreciate all of you looking into the Reflections program and volunteering for this great program. It started about 51 years ago, and it has been sponsored by National PTA. It is an arts contest. It has 6 categories students can compete in: musical competition, composition, dance choreography, 2D or 3D visual art, literature, photography, and also film or video. It must be an original entry that is submitted by only one student. It can't be submitted by more than one student. So I am going to show you the entry form real quick. There it is. Sorry, I'm losing the bottom of my screen here. Come on. While this is pulling up, sorry guys. I wanted to say that we are planning to be very flexible this year. We're hoping to have a semi-normal program, but again, I have like a plan A, a plan B, and then worst case scenario plan as well. So right now I'm proceeding ahead with plan A and hoping that we will be in school, like face-to-face school, sometime around the end of October. If that doesn't happen, then we will push the dates back, and so that will be plan B. So right now the date I have is for the councils to turn in their entries to state December 9th and 10th. That's a Wednesday and a Thursday. I usually do the first week in December, but this week I'm trying to push it back a little bit to start with, and then hopefully we'll be able to, go with normal planning, but we'll see. Again, I'm just planning to be very flexible and see what we can get accomplished, okay? I don't know why, I'm sorry, but it's not letting me have my documents. Hold on, let me see what I can do here. I still have people joining, so I'm trying to, come on. I still have some folks joining, and so I'm trying to let those guys in as well. I'm not sure, this is not, okay.
Angela, while you're letting them in, can you tell me, I heard rumor that the sessions would be recorded and then posted?
Yes.
Wonderful.
And so far, I have had trouble with every single one I have done. I've done, this is my 5th one. Yeah, and I've had trouble with every single one of them. I did one on this past Sunday by myself. I just recorded it. There was no, participants, so there's no questions and answers kind of thing, but I just recorded sort of a training one, and that one is going to be posted to the website soon. It is on my YouTube channel now, so you can get it there. And I'm hoping this one will record okay, and then we can post this one as well. And then the next one, the next one is this coming Saturday. And then I'm probably going to do another one the week of the 17th of August, just because by then I think all the schools in our area will have started in some fashion. And so I wanted to kind of do a question and answer one for then.
That's amazing. Thank you so much, Angela.
Yeah,
I appreciate that.
Sure. Okay. So since I can't get that, I'm going to go to this. We're going to go to another plan. So this is the Georgia PTA website. And I just wanted to show you guys, when you go to the homepage, right at the top is the Reflections tab. And then when you touch that, then you'll see two drop-down categories: Reflections Submission Info and Reflections Winners. Now, I say to everybody, please check out both of these pages. I'm going to go to the Reflections Winner one first, and hopefully it will come up. So on the winners one, you can see, I'm going to scroll down. So sort of the way I virtually did our celebration this year. So we have the list of our national winners, and then, yeah, this will come up in a second. And then I also did a sway, which is kind of like a PowerPoint, if you've ever worked with that. This is just for our winners at National. We had 11 winners at National this year, so that's more than we've ever had. That's a record for us, so we're super excited about that. So that's one way to do a virtual. The other thing I did, oh, come on. These are my YouTube channel videos. So instead of, having our normal in-person celebration, I recorded on my YouTube channel videos announcing the winners for each category. So it's all separate. And so you can see this is my YouTube page. Go ahead.
You have a lot of echo. You should use your command as controller to mute everybody. That's what causes that.
Got it. Okay. Let's see here.
Also, if you said you had another computer going as well, it might be picking feed from it.
Gotcha. Well, I have the volume off on that one, so I'm hoping that's not the case, but it could be. I just have it on just in case, because this one has been doing weird, and it actually just shut down completely like 5 minutes before we were supposed to start. So, okay, so let me back up a little bit from it. Maybe that's the problem. So this is what the YouTube channel looks like. And if you just start typing in Georgia PTA Reflections, stuff will start popping up. But it's the little purple flower, that's my channel. And it's all different training videos that I did last year, plus the Zoom that I recorded this past Sunday is on there. And then these are the category winners from this past year, 2019 and 20. But that just gives you some ideas of how you can, virtually celebrate if that's going to be our situation. It totally might be. So it just gives you some ideas. Okay, I'm going to go back to the main reflections page is the reflection submission info. And when you go there, okay. Then you can see on this side, if you are not signed up for the website to get the newsletters from PTA or information when they send out training session stuff, please go on the website and sign up here to get the newsletter from PTA, and you'll get emails and stuff, and it'll say it's from Georgia PTA. It usually comes through Constant Contact, but sometimes we send out stuff through MailChimp and that kind of thing, but you'll see that it has that on there. Okay. If you scroll down the page, you'll see here, Reflections Training. You can click there and see other training dates. It lets you sign up for training there. And then down here, is the folders that has the information in it. So submission documents, if you click on that, it will open up all the files for different documents that you can use. The checklist, I love the checklist. That is my favorite. Yeah.
I'm so sorry, but it's very hard to hear you because I think your other computer is still picking you up.
Okay.
So
just a sec.
I apologize. You're giving great information. I just like to be able to hear it.
It's hard to hear. Yeah. Okay. Hold on just a sec. Oh, I know what's wrong. There. Is that better? Did that
Yes.
fix it? Ah, I know it. Okay. Sorry. I found it. I fixed it. Okay. So the checklist is one of my favorite documents because it has like a timeline. You can list on there when I need to do this, when I need to do that, and it kind of keeps me going the way I need to, keeps me focused. Did I do this? Okay, good, check, moving on. So I love that. The reflection celebration guide, that also is super helpful because it gives you some ideas about different ways to celebrate the students. The instructions for judges, this is for your judges for your entries. And it's a 2-page document. It gives them information on how they should score the entries. And then the scorecard that's on here is the one that I prefer. It's horizontal versus the vertical one that you get from National. You can get the one from National that's vertical if you'd rather have that. Potato. It's just a personal preference. I just like that one because it gives the judges more room to write. The local unit participation form, you need to fill that out as well as your reflections winners log when you submit your entries to the next level. So if you're a local unit submitting them to council, you need to have both of those documents completed and sent into your council. And then if you're council submitting to state, same thing, it's the exact same forms. Now, on this page, I wanted to show you that anything that is yellow, you can also click on and it will download the document to your computer. So any of those can be opened just by doing that. And there's a lot. If you scroll down, you can see all the different ones that are on here. And they're duplicates, some of them. Like this is the judging scorecard and the guidelines that I talked about. This is information about submitting to the next levels. Again, the local unit participation form, the winners log. National wants you to register your unit with them so that they know your school is participating, number one, and how many students are participating, how big is your school, that kind of thing. That gives them the statistics that they come up with at the end of the year. You have from July 2020 to 1st of February 2021 to do it. So you got a few days. I usually do mine first thing in July just because I know I'm going to be busy later on and I'll forget about it. But if you want to wait until, say October or November to do it, the website's not as hectic and then it doesn't crash as much, I usually tell folks. But either way, you don't have to register your school with National. It just gives them the numbers that they're looking for each state. And so, for example, they gave us a data report this year, and it shows that Georgia is one of the 6 states out of the whole United States and the European Union of PTAs that has the most entries turned into National each year. And so I'm always trying to, max out my number that I can turn into National because each state is only allowed to submit 30 entries to National. And so let me give you a little perspective on numbers with that. I get at the state level about 2,000 entries a year, sometimes a little less, sometimes a little more. Like last year, it was around 1,960. And out of that, I can pick 24 of the entries. I get to pick one per division per category. So the divisions are based by grade. So pre-K through 2nd grade is the primary division. 3rd through 5th grade is intermediate division. Middle school 6th through 8th, and then high school 9th through 12th. So I can pick one per division per category. So there's 4 per category, and then I can pick 6 total special artist entries, 1 from each category to go to National. So that makes up my 30 entries that I'm allowed to send. And we've almost never not had 30 entries submitted to National. A couple of years ago, we only had 29 because we had one student's entry would not go in the entry portal because they have a student entry portal where you upload all the entries. And a few years ago, if you've been doing reflections for a while, you would have noticed that in the rules, you are allowed to submit on many different formats, and that's not the case anymore. Now you can only do 2 formats for video and 2 formats for audio. And so that's one of the reasons that that particular entry crashed and would not load a couple of years ago. But other than that, we always do our 30 entries just because we have phenomenal student entries and phenomenal student participation. Okay, rules and forms is just what it says. It is, this top one is a zip file of all the reflections rules. If you want to just put that on your website, you can just download the zip file and then load it up there. The student entry packet for this year is 3 pages, just like last year. And then I have all the rules listed for each category, including the special artist division, which it still is considered to be a division. And then there's a little more information about special artists here. So if you have people who question you and say, hey, is my student considered to be a special artist entrant? You can direct them here, or you can get this information yourself and it gives you a little more info. But the easiest way to tell if a student would qualify as a special artist entrant is if they have a 504 plan in place. Because that would mean that they're in some kind of special class like IEP or IRR or ESOL, something like that. Or they are have like a medical disability. So any of that would qualify them as a special artist entrant. Now, just because they qualify as that does not mean they have to enter that way. They could totally just enter regularly if they want to. It's just up to the student. Promotional materials. In this folder, we have job descriptions, the shortened abridged rules that comes with the student entry pack, promotion tips, the arts and education flyer. Arts and education is coming up in September. It's the 13th through the 20th. That is the arts and education week to celebrate. And then the whole month of October is National Arts and Humanities Month. And so the arts and education flyer you could use to promote that week in that month. There's one in Spanish and English. The I Matter Because, which is our flyer for this year, that's in Spanish and English. And let me just see if I can get this to open since my document thing has just totally disappeared. And you can see it's very similar to the kind that they did last year with the dark colors and like the pixelated dots. Oh, for the love of Pete, just open. Come on. Oh, good. It is going to work. Okay. Same thing. You can print it out and add your information to the bottom, like when the entries are due, who to contact for info, that kind of thing. It is a PDF, so you can't write on the form with your computer unless you have a touchscreen. My son has a touchscreen, and so I used that last year to just write my information in before I printed it out. And let me see if I can go back. Also, let me go through the entry form really quickly with you guys, and then we'll do some questions because I'm sure you guys have a bunch. I'm sorry, I just lost the bottom of this screen. I don't know what happened to it, but we're going to move on. Here we go, student packet. So again, it's 3 pages, just like last year. Basically the same. The only thing that you will notice is a little bit different. I did take off the part that says they can submit their entries if it's music, film, or dance on a disk drive, because I'm finding that computers no longer have a disk drive reader, and so my judges can't open those. And I don't have the resources to download everything onto a separate jump drive and give that to them. So I'm not not taking, double negative, sorry. I will still take them this year on a disc, but I'm just saying to get prepared because starting next year we won't. We can only take them on a jump drive. So this is the first page of the entry form. It's how to enter. This is all customizable. All you have to do is click enable to edit, and you can totally change this however you want. You know, put your info here, when it's due, where it's due, that kind of thing. If you know when you're going to do your celebration, you can put that in there. I usually take that line out because I usually don't know when I do this in advance. So I take that out. You'll also see that under the categories, I have underlined like the big important stuff. So like video file must not exceed 5 minutes or be bigger than 1,000 megabytes in size, and it can be in MP4 or AVI format only. Like I was talking about previously in years past, you could submit it in 4 or 5 different kinds, but not anymore because the student entry portal has been revamped for national, and it can only take these 3 formats, 4, excuse me. So all of the video files, so like video, dance, if they do their music composition and they are filmed performing it, should be done in MP4 or AVI, but I strongly, I cannot tell you enough, I suggest that they do it in MP4, and then any music composition one in MP3, just because those 2 are the easiest formats to open, and so all the entries can be judged. Because if it's in a funky format, like if it's an AVI and somebody has a computer that won't open the AVI, then it can't be judged and it gets disqualified. So I tell all my kids, and every time I do a training, I tell everybody, MP4 and MP3, those are the 2 best ones to have it saved in, because those can be opened the best. So same thing for all music, film, video, dance, all of them can't be longer than 5 minutes, and the 1,000 megabytes. That's the same for all of them. Okay, literature, not to exceed 2,000 words, and we ask that they do count that. I mean, your computer counts it for you, so I mean, you know, look down here at the bottom of the page. It tells you how many words there are, so please just have them write that in, or I have to count it when it gets to be. Single-sided print paper, 8.5 by 11. It can be handwritten or typed, and it can be on notebook paper as well. That's totally fine. If they handwrite it on notebook paper, it's fine. Music, we already talked about. Photography. So a lot of times because it says it can be no larger than 11 by 14 inches. And so a lot of times kids will submit a photography entry, and it is 11 by 14 inches, and then it will have poster board or some kind of matting around it. That is 11 by 14 inches total with matting. Now the actual photograph cannot be bigger than 8 by 10. Has to be at least 3 by 5, and then no bigger than the 8 by 10. So that's why I've underlined all these things, because sometimes I'm seeing that these are getting missed. So I just wanted to double check on the rules. Visual arts, again, we have 2D and 3D. 2D did not change at all. Still, you know, it's safer to mount it on something sturdy just so the artwork is protected. And it's suggested that they wrap it. If the student does not give it to you wrapped, and it's something fragile like chalk or it's covered in glitter, I would say wrap it, because otherwise it's going to rub off on other entries, because you know how you keep them all together like piled up or stacked up or whatever, it will rub off on other entries and you'll lose the integrity of the piece. So that's the ones that I say, you know, definitely you want to wrap it. If it's chalk or what is it they call pastel, the oil pastels that they use, that kind of stuff, or tons of glitter, that's not going to stay on there unless you wrap it. The 2D pieces can't be bigger than 24 by 30, same old, and that's with the matting. It says no stretched canvases are allowed, but you're always going to get that, and that's just the one that's got the wooden frame on the back, and then the canvas is stretched over the front. You're going to get that every year. Don't worry about it. Just keep on sending it forward, because honestly the only time it would need to be taken off that frame is if it wins at national and then I have to mail it physically to them. Otherwise, it's fine. You don't need to take it off. Just keep on sending it forward. What else? The 3D artwork, the size is still the same, no larger than 18 by 18 by 18. Again, that is mostly for traveling reasons because bigger pieces don't travel well. That size sometimes won't travel well if it's not properly packaged. It should come to you properly packaged in a perfect world. So if you get something that is not properly packaged and it lands at your level and it's going to go on to the next level, please ask your student to provide you with packaging so that you don't have to spend your budget on that. Spend your budget on celebrating the kids and, you know, what you need for your program. Don't, you know, do it on packaging and all that stuff. There's a whole video on my YouTube channel about how to perfectly pack and wrap and all that stuff. But, you know, do what you keep what you got, basically. Okay, the official rules, the same, nothing's changed. Eligibility, the students must participate through a local PTA or PTSA. It is determined by the state and local PTA, PTSA. A student may develop an entry inside or outside school. Basically, the student is eligible to participate if they go to a school that is in good standing with Georgia PTA. And that is, have you paid your dues? Have you submitted your officers? Have you filed your 990 form? Have you done your audit? Those things. That is what keeps you in good standing with the state of Georgia. I always give a little leeway with reflections because, and especially since we're in crazy times, I would probably give more leeway. I tell people, you know, make sure your school's in good standing by the end of December. That way, come January, when I'm starting to get some of my entries back from my judges, I can go to the school and say, hey, we're showing you're not in good standing. Please fix this. I don't want to, you know, kick your student out. Because we don't ever want to disqualify a student because their school is not in good standing. Last year, we had a huge problem with it because we had an issue. It wasn't the schools. It was Member Hub did not port over all the information correctly. And so it showed like 40 something schools were not in good standing. So I had to contact all these people at the last minute and I felt terrible. I was like, you know, I'm really sorry guys. I know you've already done this, but could you please send this information again? Just so, you know, the board doesn't come back at me and say, hey, you let all these people in and they're not in good standing. But we don't do that. I promise we check up on that and I do my very best because we don't ever want to disqualify a student because of something like that, because it's too easy to fix, honestly. Again, special artists is included in the divisions that I went over earlier: primary, intermediate, middle school, high school, and then special artist. Okay, then it has entry requirements. Again, it talks about needs to be an original entry submitted by only one student. And then the last page of this packet is the actual entry form. Up here at the top, you will see the gray box. That's where you guys are going to put your information. So before you put these forms online, or if, you know, God willing, we get back in the school and we can put them out someplace, put your information on this before you stick them out there. Otherwise, you're going to have to handwrite it on all the ones that get turned into you. But it's your local PTA name here, your 8-digit ID number. Now, some of you may only have like 1, 2, 3, 4 kind of number. The only thing it's missing is the 4 zeros in front of it. So you'll see like the state ID number, ours is 573. So when I'm communicating with national, I add 3 zeros to the front of that. And really the only time when you're, you know, you need those extra zeros is when you're communicating with national. So when you go to register your program with national, you're going to need the zeros in front of it. So, but for me, if your number is like 1, 2, 3, 4, just put 1, 2, 3, 4. I know the zeros go in front. It's totally fine. Local program chair, that's going to be you, your email, and your phone number. If you don't want to use your personal email, please just make up one for reflections, you know, reflections@johnnyschool.org, whatever. If you don't want it to come to your personal email box, just make sure you check it, because sometimes I do need to get in touch with you guys, or if the kids have questions or whatever, they're going to want to be able to get in touch with you. And then council, district, region, state. State's already filled in for you. You will only have a council or an area or a region. You're not going to have all three. So like, for example, over in Gwinnett, they have areas. So they would be like Area 1, District 12, and they won't have a region. In DeKalb, they have regions. So it would be like Region 1, District 11, that kind of thing. If you don't know what district you're in, that's totally fine. I can look it up. Also, with the members' dues, paid, insurance paid date, and bylaws approval date, those are the things that they look at to see if you guys are in good standing. You can get that information from your PTA president, secretary, or treasurer. But again, if you cannot get that information, if they can't get it to you, don't worry about it, because I get a monthly statistical report that has all that information on it. And so I can look it up if you need me to. If you want to email me and say, hey, my president doesn't know where this is, or I can't find it, I can look it up for you and shoot it back to you if you want. It's easier for me probably to find it than for you guys, honestly. But if your president's on top of it and they know all that, great, just stick it on there. The next part of it is the student's info part. Student name, grade, age, classroom is not necessary. Parent, guardian name, email, phone number, and address. If they don't want to give all of this information, one part is fine. I just need one way to be able to contact them if I have a question. Sometimes I get forms and all it has is the student's name and grade, the parent's name, and it'll say Georgia, and that's it. There's no other information. That student I can't get in touch with because I have literally nothing to get in touch with that kid. Sometimes what I will do there is contact the school chair and say, hey, can you talk to this kid and get me some info? So if you have a parent that's skittish about putting out their information, that's totally fine, as long as I get an email, a phone number, or an address. One of the three I can make do. Then the signature part, and then next is the division they check, the category they check. Again, I have it down here that the 3D can't be bigger than 18 by 18 by 18. And then at the bottom is the most important part. They must have a title of work and they must have an artist statement. If they don't have a title, it can be called untitled. It can also be called the theme. It could be I Matter Because. That's totally fine. They must have an artist statement and it must be at least 10 words. If it's more than 100 words, that's okay, because I can cut that off. I can't add words to a statement. So if you get a form and it's something like, I love to dance, please ask that student to give you some more words, because I can't put words on it, you can't put words on it, it has to come from the student. And I know sometimes it's hard with special artists to get words, so just do the best you can. But yeah, it has to be at least 10 words. We can make do with more than 100, but at least 10. Details. So details is the place where you put the information, like what kind of music is playing in the background of your dance video. So if you have a student dancing to Can't Stop the Feeling by Justin Bieber, that's where they need to write that. Can't Stop the Feeling by Justin Timberlake. I'm sorry, JT. Or if it is a visual art piece, if it is made out of Play-Doh, put that on there. If it is a drawing and it's crayons and markers, that's where that goes. If it's photography and you took the picture with your mom's iPhone 10, put that there. If it is film and you've got music playing in the background, put it there. If it's, and also with film, if you filmed it, you know, with your mom's iPhone, you know, iPhone, whatever the movie thing is that they have on there, that's where those details go. And for literature, this is where you put your word count, is here in the details. But those are the crucial parts of the form. Any questions on the entry form before we scoot by? And you can unmute yourself if you have a question and just shout it out before we go to anything else. Or you can type it too. Okay, I'm gonna go to my next form. I can get out of here. Close, thank you. Bye. All right. Oh, this is the local leaders guide, which you can download from the website as well. This thing is fantastic, especially if you are new to Reflections, because it has a ton of great information in it. It has the how to get started part, the top 5 steps to have a great reflections program in your school. It has the leaders checklist that I talked about, volunteer sign-up sheet that you can totally download and just put it up or put it on your website. Instructions for judges is on here, and event planning guide. All that stuff is on this local leaders guide, which you can download. I was going to show you, let's see if I can get down here to the, keep going. The judges rubric that I was talking about that National uses, which is in here, this thing. This is the scorecard that National uses. It's vertical versus the horizontal one that I prefer. So, but you know, whatever, to each his own. It all has the same information on it. So whatever you want to use, whatever works best for you. The checklist is also, where did it go? Did I pass it? Yeah. Let's see. There it is. Here's the checklist that I was talking about earlier that I love because it keeps me, you know, doing what I'm supposed to be doing, getting started, do all these things, check, 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 moving on. So I love that. So I love this local leaders pack if you are new to Reflections because it has a ton of great information for you. Let's get out of this. I'm going to go to the theme search form really quickly. It is 2 pages, just like last year, no different. The theme search forms, I always say, just put that on your website, and then the student is responsible for sending that in actually to the state of Georgia. And so the website or the form itself has the office address on it. These are due by November 1st to the office, Georgia PTA. And here is the due date and the address for where it is due. So this is the entry form on the first page. So the student fills it out, their theme idea, then all their information, just like the regular entry form. And then on the bottom is where the school info box is. If you don't put these on your website for kids to download and print out, sometimes this information will just be the school's name right here, and that's totally fine because I can get the rest of the information as long as I know the school. So that's no biggie because a lot of times they just print this out straight from the state website. And then the second page of the theme search form is the past themes. And so we always know at least 2 themes in a year. So we know right now that I Matter Because is this year's theme, and the next year's theme will be I Will Change the World By. And then come March 1st of 2021, they will announce the winning theme for 2022-23. The way they pick the themes is each state is allowed to submit 5 themes from the theme search entries they receive to National. And then National goes through all of those, and that's how they pick the winning theme. And the student who wins gets a $100 prize. So there is a prize attached to that one, money-wise. We normally get about 100 to 150 theme search entry forms every year. And so then we have to, like, you know, cut it down to just those 5 and submit those. But the due date again for theme search is November 1st. That is on the website. I did make a calendar for this, like the Reflections year, 2020-21 year. And they are going to upload it to the website soon, where we have this, excuse me, let me close this one, where we have the website boxes, the forms and all that. Those will be, we're going to add another one called Extras. And so what I'm doing there is putting in the suggested calendar for the year. And so what I wrote down were suggested deadlines. So like right now, Plan A, suggested deadline for state, council will turn their entries into state December 9th and 10th. So usually what I say is if your state deadline is, you know, whatever, then the council should back their deadline up about a month. So then the local school units should have a council deadline of somewhere around the 1st of November. So then from that, based on that kind of guesstimate, you can back up your own local school unit deadline, you know, a week or two, just depending on, you know, how many entries you normally get each year. Like if you're in an elementary school, you probably get a ton of entries. If you're in a middle school or a high school, they don't submit as many, so you don't need as long to get them judged. And sometimes with middle school and high school, you won't even have enough entries to have them judged, because technically if you have if you have only 2 per grade per category, they don't need to be judged. You can just send those on to the next level. I ask you though to kind of look at them and make sure that they're not just complete trash, because there's a lot going to the next level. And so that's, you know, taking time from a judge. Because if you can look at it and see, like if it's a 7th grader and they just kind of drew on a piece of notebook paper, or like I had one year somebody turned in a cartoon that they traced out of a comic book on a piece of notebook paper, don't send that to the next level. Go ahead and give it a prize for, you know, participating at your level, but don't submit that on, just because it's, you know it's going to take too much time from the judge, and you don't want that. All right, let's see here. I've lost my, sorry, I've lost my connection a little bit. Let me get back in there. I do apologize. My computer has been yuck today. Really? Open. Hold on. Sorry. I'm going to pause that for just a sec so I can get that going again. There we go. Why that wouldn't work earlier. Okay. All right, guys. Let me see if I can get this back up and running correctly. Yeah, that's better than nothing. Okay. Any questions? Unmute yourself and tell me your questions or ask me.
So if I followed you correctly, because of all the levels and deadlines, if we are a middle school with decent submissions for reflections, we should set our deadline sometime for the school around middle of October.
Yes. And so what I also do the local level. My son's in high school, so I'm at the high school level now, but I've done I've done it all through elementary, all through middle, and now we're in high school. And so that's my deadline currently is Friday, October 16th, because my council usually has their deadline around end of October, 1st of November. And I usually don't get more than 20 entries at my high school. So it doesn't take that long to get them judged and sorted and ready to go to the next level. Usually middle school is the same way. You don't have a bunch of, you're not going to get 100 entries from middle school usually. Elementary, maybe. So elementary schools sometimes will need longer for judging and getting stuff together. And then also it depends on, do you want to do your celebration before you take your entries to the next level? Or do you want to wait and do it when you get them back? It just depends. It's different for everybody. My personal preference is to do my celebration, if possible, before I take my entries to the council level, because I still have everything. But sometimes, it's not, you're not able to do that. So what I do, I try to do my celebration where I have the kids come for, I do cupcakes and water, and that's it. And they get not medallions, they get ribbons and certificates from me at the school level. And then after it comes back from council, say in January-ish, then I will do a display in the media center, like January or February when it's kind of slow, and then take pictures of that and put it in the e-blast and that kind of stuff. But it just depends. Some schools wait and do theirs, in January or February when they get their stuff back from council. It's just whatever works better for you guys. Also, for your categories, you don't have to have all 6 categories. You don't have to offer all of them. So customize your program to your school. Like if you are an arts school and you know that you guys are going to do all 2D and 3D art and photography and maybe literature, you don't have to have film, music, and dance. I do have several art schools across the state, and all I get from them is 2D, 3D art, photography. Occasionally I'll get a literature, but almost never. I have another art school over in DeKalb that's very dance heavy, and so I get mostly dance entries from them and not really any visual art or photography, sometimes literature. So you can kind of, you know, do your program the way you want to if you know your school best. So whatever you have, if you don't want to have those extra categories because you're positive nobody's going to do them, you don't have to offer them. It's totally up to you. What else can I tell you guys?
And then I had one more question that I
Yes,
noted. For the special artist category, do they escalate through council to national level as just like all the other
yes,
categories?
So special artist entries are different. You do not have to judge special artists. You take them from your local level to the next level, which is council. Same thing at council. Now at the state level, I have started having them judged because I have started, thankfully, getting a lot of entries. I'm very excited because we're getting like 100 entries or more, which is huge for us to have that many special artist entries. So I have started getting them judged. It's mostly 2D art, but still I'm getting, you know, like all categories, and it's fantastic to have that many and to have that problem of needing to have them judged. That's amazing. So, oh, speaking of that, let me show. Okay, so I showed you the flyer for that National put out. This is our poster for Georgia State. I don't know if you can see that. Let me back it up. Sorry. And it was, this is this year's poster, and she wrote on it, it doesn't matter. Let me hold it up. It doesn't matter what you look like on the outside. It only matters what you are on the inside. And this was submitted by a special artist student, and we've never had a special artist student win poster before, so that's another first for us, and I'm super excited about that. It's Kaylin Weaver, 5th grader from Level Creek Elementary School, if you guys are on, Area 2 Gwinnett, so super excited about that. But she actually, her first entry got eaten by her dog, and that was her second entry, her mom said. So she was really excited because she was upset about the first one. But, and those posters we are going to give to your councils. I'm going to mail them to the councils. So if you need a poster, get in touch with your council person. If for some reason you can't get one from them and you really want it, just shoot me an email. My email address is reflections@Georgia, spell out the whole word, PTA.org. And then I can get that for you if you're having trouble getting it.
Will you be making a digital copy available?
I am, yeah. I am. We are trying to get the digital copy from our printer because that would be the best looking copy. So I'm not sure if we're going to be able to, with things being the way they are. He's not really open. So if we can't, I have taken photographs of this one, and we're just going to put the best one online and let it, you know, be available that way as well. So yeah. Rebecca, did you have a question?
Yes. I'm at the elementary school level.
Uh-huh.
Can we always get confused with 2D and 3D.
Yes,
Can we have like 2D winners and separate 3D winners?
I encourage that, and the reason being, you don't have to do that. That's totally up to you, but I encourage everybody to separate those out. The reason being, you can have more winners, and that's always a good thing. I separate them out at state level. I encourage the councils to separate them out because, again, you can have more winners, but when it comes to national, they are not separated. So that's why you'll see sometimes on the winners list for the state, there won't be one from 3D art. It'll only be 2D art pieces that are going to national. So it just depends on what the judge likes best. But so we separate them out, we judge them that way. So again, we can have more winners at the state level as well. But then when I send them to national, I have to only pick one or the other. I can't send both. But up to there, I encourage everybody to separate it out just because you can have more winners. So, Angela, somebody had a question. I lost it.
That's me, Angel.
Oh, yes, hi. Sorry.
Hey, Okay, so I just had a quick question about the celebrations because I heard
ma'am.
you mention that you usually do cupcakes and certificates at your school level. Last year we did an ice cream party and certificates, but whenever I
wow.
spoke to one of the parents, they were like, "Well, the elementary school gave trophies to my other daughters," and I was like, "Oh, so is there like a standard, or is it
No,
just
there
up
is
to us?"
not, because everybody's budget is different. And usually when people tell me that, because I have schools that give out bigger awards than what I give at state. But how I respond to that is, that's fantastic that you have that kind of budget. I unfortunately don't, and I am always trying to be a good steward with this money, because it's not my money. It comes from everybody who pays their PTA dues, and it belongs to the children, honestly. And so I want to spend it on stuff for them. But we have about 350 winners at the state every year. And so I try to spread that out as best I can. So, if a school has that kind of money, and I've seen budgets as big as $800, I personally have never had a budget that big at any of my schools. I have seen schools that have no money in their budget for reflections, just because they don't have that much money to start with. And there are ways to do celebrations and to do things that are totally free, because let me tell you, I'm the cheapest person you are ever going to meet in your life. And if I can make something or get somebody to give it to me for free, I'm going to figure it out. So
that's kind of how we got our ice cream party, because it was stuff left over that was donated to us from a thing after school, and none of it had been open. So we said, hey, we'll take it.
Exactly. So you got to do the best you can with what you got. And so if somebody says something like that to you, that's how I address them. I just say, that's fantastic. You guys have that kind of budget. I unfortunately don't. And I would just put it to them that way.
Thank you. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't doing something wrong.
There is, because you can only do what you can do with what you have. So it just depends, where you are, your school and your budget. And, because again, it's other people's money. So you have to be a good steward with that money. And so I always say, spend the money that you have on celebrating the kids. Don't spend it on buying packaging materials or wrapping or any of that stuff. If it comes to you perfect, that's awesome. If it doesn't, the only time I say try to fix it is if it's something fragile, like the chalk that I talked about, or the things that are totally covered in glitter, that kind of stuff. That's the only time I would try to fix anything. Otherwise, just send it on how it is. Because there's, there are ways that it's supposed to be packaged, and it says that, but, you do the best you can with what you got. So, and especially if you're one person doing it all by yourself, that's a lot of work to put on yourself. And then you're going to hate reflections and you'll never do it again. And that's not what I want. I want you to love it and do it over and over and over. So,
Angie?
Yes, ma'am.
Angie, there's a question in the chat that I also am wondering about.
Yes, ma'am.
If we're 100% virtual,
yes,
or we have kids who are choosing to be 100% virtual, even if we are allowed to go face-to-face,
right?
How do you suggest we handle it?
Okay, so because we are starting, everybody's pretty much starting out virtual. So with that, I am making a list of tips, and then I'm also, that will be on the website, that where the calendar will be. They're making another box of information there. But I am putting out a different tip like every 10 days or so on Facebook. But what I'm saying, because we are all starting virtual, hit your e-blasts in your website ask the school, because my school has an e-blast that comes from the school, and then there's one that comes from our PTA. And so I make sure that I'm advertising in both. I'm asking my school to let me have glass on the front of the school, because people are still going to the school to pick up stuff or drop off stuff or whatever. And so I'm putting a poster there. I'm also going to try to do some yard signs, like the yard sale ones, but, cover it with reflection stuff instead, up by the school, because we do have like a nice long entrance to the school. So I was going to try to put some stuff up there, but I'm hitting those e-blasts every week. I'm making sure my stuff is on the PTA website now. So people can go ahead and get it. And then if we are not back in school by the time it's time to turn these in, and again, right now I'm suggesting the day of, Friday, October 16th, but be flexible, be ready to be flexible, because this is not going to be a normal year. We may have to push that back a little bit. And then when it's time for kids to drop stuff off, I'm going to also ask the school, can I please put a box, like a Rubbermaid box with a lid out front of the school, because it's covered. So if it rains, nothing will get wet and the kids can just drop their entries in the box. And that's a no contact way to get the entries. If they won't let me use the front of the school, there's also a nice covered walkway by the gymnasium I'm going to ask for. I've talked to chairs who said they were going to have the students drop the entries at their house, and they're putting a bucket on their porch. So you can be creative and do stuff like that. If you have to do a virtual celebration, do something, do a sway, do a PowerPoint, do a YouTube video, any of that kind of stuff. Kids appreciate, make sure you put their names in the e-blast that's coming out. If you could put a banner up, on the fence by the front of the school, so hang something up there, that kind of stuff. So we're just gonna have to be creative this year, unfortunately, and very flexible. So.
Well, I'm wondering, can we accept entries through photo only for our judging? And then if they make it through the next rounds, and they can, be able to turn in the actual artwork at that point.
Totally. If your judge is okay with that, and they can digitally send you photographs of the entries along with a picture of their entry form, so that you have that title and the artist statement and all that information, you can totally run it that way. And then if it moves on, then you get the actual entry and take that to the next level. I've had councils. Great. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, totally. And again, my email address is reflections@Georgia, spell out the whole word, PTA.org. And if you have a question, or you come to something and you're like, gosh, I don't know how to do this, or I don't know, how we're going to handle this, please don't hesitate to get in touch with me. If it's urgent, stick your phone number in there and I'll call you. Or if you think it's going to be a big conversation, just shoot your phone number to me and I'll give you a call. Because sometimes it's easier to do it on the phone, and I can walk you through whatever. If you're having trouble getting forms or whatever from the website, shoot me an email and I'll email them to you directly. So that's what I'm here for, to help you guys, have the best program you can. So any questions or any needs you have, just let me know. I honestly don't mind. And if you call the office, they will give you my phone number because they know it's okay. Any other questions before we shut down? I'm trying to look at my chat because I'm sorry I wasn't watching it. Email again. I'm sorry?
Can you repeat that email one more time, please?
Yes, it's reflections@Georgia, spell out the whole word, PTA.org.
Thank you.
Schools, can we have, who is this? Park Street Elementary. Can we have access to last year's participants of my school to make a little video? What do you mean by access? Will you, who is this from? Gladys, are you still here?
I'm here, hi. I was just thinking about like to send out information through our website or through email, like a little video of the participants last year, so that the kids can see their peers participating. And they get encouraged. Can we have access, or our school has the entries, or how does that work?
You mean the actual entry? That's what you're looking for?
Yeah, like the entries for last year.
Okay. What is your council? Do you know?
No.
Okay.
Kind of new.
Where are you at?
Oh, I'm in Cobb County, Marietta City School District.
Marietta City School. Okay, so your council person has not picked up their entries yet, so I still have those at the office. I am going to contact him because I do have about 5 councils that have not picked up their stuff from the office yet. So I'm trying to get in touch with them and like take them from the office and meet them somewhere, because the office actually isn't open right now. So you may not have participation certificates either, because we've had a really hard time trying to get those printed, because again, the office isn't even open. but we have one person who's like trying to do the certificates from her house and then email them to the lady who has the printer at her house and print them out, and it's just not working. So we may not have participation certificates this year, unfortunately, but the entries I am trying to get back to all the council chairs so that they can contact people and get them back to them. So find out yours. If you will send me an email with your email address, I can give you the contact information from for your person.
So I'm the PTA president for the school this year. Can I pick those up?
For your school?
Mm-hmm.
Sure, if you want to. I don't have a problem with that. I don't think your council person would either.
No, I'll get in contact, and maybe I'll just shoot you an email and we'll coordinate to do that.
Yeah, yes, shoot me an email and we can totally set that up, because I do still have all of those at the office. And we go into the office once a week to check mail, and I check on those, and I'm like slowly but surely taking a council or two out each week. And like this weekend, I'm going to do District 9. So if you're South Cobb or Tom Mathis, or who is my other one? That's, oh Lord.
District 9 would be Lassiter, Sprayberry.
Tom Mathis, South Cobb, there's another one and I'm forgetting it. I'm so sorry, I apologize. But so there's three for district. Jesse Coleman, sorry. Yes, there it is. So for those three councils, I am meeting those people this weekend, Saturday, to give them those entries. And so then start pestering them. Hey, can we have ours back for the school? We need this. Can we get them back? Hello. And what I did with mine, because I did help, I did counsel for a really long time. Last year was my last year. I stepped down. But so what I've done to get my entries back, I set up a couple of places for people to come and meet me to get their entries. And so the directions I gave them were, I sent them an email and I said, this is the place I'm going to be and this is the time. Or this is the place I'm going to be, because I went to 3 different high schools. And so then I emailed all the kids who were in a school around that high school. And I said, listen, this is where I'm going to be. This is the time. You come to the school, you write your kid's name on a piece of paper, tape it to the passenger window. When you get to me, roll down your back window or open your trunk and I'll put your stuff in the car and you drive away. So that's how I got most of my stuff back. I had a few people who did not come and meet me. I also offered them the option of coming to my house if they wanted to. And I stuck it again in that bucket outside my door and they can pick it up that way. Or I do have a few that I know the student's family can't come and get it. And so I've actually just taken it to their front porch or whatever. And I just put it on the porch, ring the doorbell and run away. So, there's all different ways to get it back, because there's some, people who have said, well, I'm going to take it to the school and then I'm going to tell all my kids that their stuff's at the school. I said, well, you can do that too. Do the same thing. Put the stuff in the bucket out in front of the school and let the kids come pick it up there. You can totally, there's all kinds of ways to get the stuff back. But yeah, shoot me an email if you're looking for a specific school, and I can tell you where it's at. The Marcia, yes, Area 3 has picked up. Marina has all that stuff. They were waiting, Area 2 and 3 were waiting for their certificates before they handed stuff back, and we just haven't gotten them. So I'm just going to tell them they probably should just go ahead and give their stuff back. And if we by some miracle get certificates, we'll do that later. But yeah, Marina Staples is the one who has that. She is your District 12 director, I believe still. I'm not sure of her. Yeah, I think she's still the director. Anywho, but it's Marina Staples for Area 3, District 12. Any other questions, guys?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, hopefully this one recorded well and I can upload it so it will help. But again, I have that YouTube channel that you can go to, and there are training videos that I did last year. Be kind, because I'd never done YouTube videos before, so they're not fabulous, but they do have the information in them. But you can always get in touch with me if you have a question or you need something, because again, that's what I'm here for. I love reflections. As y'all can tell, I could talk about it all day long. So thank you all very, very much for attending this Zoom, and being patient and being flexible with this crazy year and crazy time that we're in. I do appreciate it, I promise. And again, contact me if you need anything. You can call the office. They are answering phones. So you call them, get my number, and they will call you, or shoot me an email and I will call you right back. All right. Well, thank you so much, guys. Y'all have a great night.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. I don't know how to get out of it.
Hold on.